WJ for the sub, Cam, 2 Galaxy, and Bam for the sub. Lock in. Next video, chat. Ancient rules we still follow for no reason.
Number 10. Birthday candle. Let's get right into it. Number 10.
What are ancient birthday candles? The only ancient rule I know of right now that we still follow is elbows on the table as being disrespectful. Do you think that's not... Do you think elbows on the table is, like, unsophisticated? I think that's fine. If we're at a fancy restaurant and you go, I don't see a problem with it. The reason that exists, we learned that from a different video, or I watched a video about it, actually, is because older tables in, like, ancient medieval times were propped on smaller, like, pegs to where if you put your elbows on it, the table would flip. So they needed more space and to put more food, so you weren't supposed to put your elbows on the table because if you did, the table would fall. And so now it's like, don't do that, and we've carried that to modern times when now if I go like this, nothing fucking happens.
Birthday candles. It all started...
If you're slouched, it's rude.
Started with the ancient Greeks
I put my elbows on the table all the time.
trying to get the moon's attention. They would make round cakes to honor Artemis, their moon goddess. Then they'd stick candles on top, hoping the flames would catch her eye, basically trying to get a celebrity to notice you by waving your phone's flashlight at a concert. Then the Germans came along and made it weird. They thought your birthday was basically a VIP party for evil spirits. Your special day was a supernatural Black Friday sale, and demons were lining up for deals. So they
So you use birthday candles to ward off bad omens?
started putting candles on cakes as a supernatural security system. The smoke was supposed to float up and blind the evil spirits.
Never knew that. I never even have thought about that. Have y'all ever given that? When, birthday cake candles, I've never sat there and been like, why do we do this? Once. Until this video 30 seconds ago. I've just gone, it's birthday candles. Because who cares? Like, I've never been like, oh, this is like something that I need to look into the history of.
Imagine being such a bad spirit that you get defeated by birthday cake smoke. They even added an extra candle called the Light of Life. You had to blow out all the candles in one breath or your wish wouldn't come true. Miss just one, and your wish goes straight to the spam folder of the universe.
The 85-year-old. I love watching old people try to blow out candles.
Scientists actually...
Online. Actually, I don't like it. Because when I watch it, you ever been around an old person trying to blow out a candle, and you could just tell they're struggling? I feel so bad. I feel so bad. You're watching your grandpa, somebody's great uncle. They start spitting all over the cake. Yeah, they start spitting all over the cake. But then they're, like, determined. Because they know they're old, so they're like, I need to do this because this shows some level of, like, not youth, but, like, I guess determination towards it. And so I've just seen, like, I'm like, dude, we'll just blow them out. It's not, we don't need to get them all.
Studied this tradition. Turns out blowing out candles increases the bacteria on cake by 1,400%.
Wait, what?
Studied this tradition. Turns out blowing out candles increases the bacteria on cake by 1,400%. But hey, at least we're safe from those evil spirits. Number 9. Knocking on wood for good luck. Our ancestors
I'd be doing that all the time. I'd be going...
thought trees were supernatural apartment buildings. These weren't your average roommates, though. These spirits could make or break your luck. The ancient Celts and Germans believed good spirits lived in trees. When they wanted to thank these spirits for good luck, they'd give their tree home a little knock, basically leaving a 5-star review for your super...
There was one time I was tripping and I just hugged a tree for like 5 minutes because I was like, it really hit me. I was like, damn, it's not alive in the conscious manner I am, but this is still a vibe. I give my tree a hug. Just like a... But then you do bonfires and shit, and then you burn their brothers in front of them. You ever think about that? You ever think about that? You be burning them in front of them. Fuck. And they have responses. That's like an actual scientific thing. When you cut down a tree in a forest, it sends like a distress signal to all the other trees. They start freaking out. So they know. Like, they know you just killed them. Like, killed one of them.
Natural landlord. But there was another reason. Evil spirits were floating around like jealous ex-roommates, waiting to hear someone brag about their good fortune. The moment you said something like, "I never get sick," they'd show up faster than relatives at a lottery win. So knocking on wood was basically hitting the mute button on your good news. Different cultures created their own versions of this supernatural game of Simon Says. In Turkey, people pull their earlobes before knocking twice. Italians don't even bother with wood. They touch iron instead. In Brazil, you have to knock exactly 3 times, or it doesn't count. Christians later claimed it was about touching the wood of Jesus' cross.
I do superstitions like that, like the double knock on wood. You ever see people that have like either OCD or like such high levels of superstition that like every time they leave the room, they'll like flip the light switch like twice and then they'll twist the knob twice. Oh my God. The amount of like anxiety that would give me on a daily basis if I had to do every single thing in like twos or something. Oh my God. The only 2 things I do, like I'll knock on wood and I can't have a volume button. If there's like a number to the volume instead of like a sliding scale, it has to be on an even number. But I got that from Brooke. I never used to care. And then when I started dating Brooke, she would freak out if it was ever on an odd number. So now I just have volume on an even number, even if it's unenjoyable. Say volume 8's too low and 10's too high, I won't put it on 9. I will either choose too quiet or too loud. And I'll deal with it.
But they were probably just trying to make their pagan habits sound more church-friendly. So, yeah, here we are, with our smartphones and space stations, still
I'm okay with 5, 15, 25. Yeah, 5s are different sometimes.
tapping trees for luck. Number 8. The QWERTY keyboard. Back in the 1860s,
Bro, I was actually thinking about this shit the other day. Why is a keyboard like this? Why? It's just like a random assembly of letters. I mean, it makes sense because like the vowels are closer to your fingertips, but like why is it not just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K? Like it makes more sense that it's not, but why?
Newspaper editor Christopher Scholes wanted to make a machine that could type letters faster than writing by hand.
And so he figured out a way to assemble the letters in a manner that was efficient. What's the other type of keyboard that exists that no one uses but like a few people have? There's another keyboard that's not QWERTY. Azerty. Yeah, the Azerty keyboard. Who the fuck uses that? Wait, let me look that up. Azerty keyboard layout. Like, if you gave me one of those, I'd start typing and just be dead-ass confused. Oh, no. It's basically the same thing. It only has slight differences. They're, like, kind of in the same spot. Like, the M is over there instead of down here. The W should be, like, up there. It is, but what, like, why this? Was there another guy that made another keyboard in his own efficient manner?
His first design had
French people use it?
keys arranged in alphabetical order, like a piano for words. These early typewriters were basically mechanical spiders. When you hit a key, a metal arm would swing up and stamp the letter onto the paper. But if you typed too fast, these arms would get tangled up. Think of 8 kids trying to get through one doorway at the same time. Telegraph operators were some of the first people to use these machines. They needed to quickly decode Morse code messages without making mistakes. The alphabetical layout was causing them to...
Okay, I don't want to say I wish we had typewriters still, but have you ever used a typewriter and heard how fucking satisfying that shit is? The... Bing! Ding! Oh my God, it's like ASMR. Typing on that shit. That's why, like, certain people have those. I will say, there's certain people that have, like, keycaps that are really loud, like typewriters. I fucking hate that shit, though. Because you're on a you ever on a Discord call with your friend that has one of those fucking keycaps that are really loud, and you hear every click in the video game because his mic is fucking right next to it. Oh, there's streamers that have that shit, too. Like, if I move my keys... Like, you can't hear them. They're kind of quiet. Like, I can hear them, but they don't get picked up on the mic. Bro, motherfuckers that have those keycaps that make loud clicks. Ugh.
mess up more often. So Scholes started rearranging letters to make things easier for telegraph operators. Then Remington, a gun company, decided to get into the
Show us it if you don't want to see my keyboard. Bro, it's like fucking, it's like dust. But it's like stuck to it. Bro, it's not dirty. I'm telling you, it's not dirty.
typewriter business. They were selling a different kind.
Being dead ass, it's spit and dust. Because I'm yapping. Like, I have to wipe down my monitors a lot because I spit all over them because I just talk. Usually when I crash out. Not if I'm just talking like right now. It'll be like if I'm like freaking out.
Of shooting machine, a gun that shot letters instead of bullets. When better layouts were invented, like the Dvorak keyboard in the 1930s, it was already too late. Changing it would be like trying to convince everyone to in the 1930s.
Wait, there's a better keyboard, the Dvorak keyboard. There's a better keyboard than the one we use now. Oh. All the vowels are right next to each other. A, O, E, U, I, Y. D, H, T. Yeah, it would be impossible. Like, Chad, imagine if I handed you this keyboard and you were like, and I was like, type something. It would be like being a kid. Like, you would have to it's like learning a new language. Because, like, I don't look down do you guys look down when you type now? Even if you're a peck typer, you still probably know what you're doing. Like, I don't look down when I search shit. So you would have to literally relearn it would be learning a new language. It would take you forever.
It was already too late. Changing it would be like trying to convince everyone to start driving on the other side of the road. Number 7. Bread on the left, drinks on the right. Back in the day, European nobles were obsessed with table manners.
Oh my God, I don't understand. The table manners shit, I always freak out about that. When I go to a restaurant and they give me 2 forks that are the same size. You've just unlocked me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I have no idea. Just give me one of each. Or multiple spoons of different sizes. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck am I supposed to use this for? So I just pick one, and that's the one that I use.
They turned eating dinner into a game of
I think you're supposed to like eat out to in or it to out. Who gives a shit?
Embarrass yourself in front of the king. One wrong move with your fork, and you might lose your head. Literally. They came up with this simple trick. Look at your hands. Make a B with your left hand. That's where your bread goes. Make a D with your right hand. That's where your drinks go.
How do you make a B with your fucking left hand? How do you make a B? That's a D. A B with my right hand I can do. That's a D. That's a B for you. It's inverted.
In crowded dining halls, this system kept drunk nobles from mixing up their stuff. Because accidentally drinking from the king's cup was a quick way to get your head chopped off. It was basically assigned parking for your food.
You would get decapitated if you dropped your fork in a fucking formal dinner? I mean, what the fuck?
The part is, this rule only exists in Western dining. In other cultures, they just put the food where it fits. You know? Like normal people who don't need an advanced degree in plate geometry to have dinner. Number 6.
Bro, I will say, Thanksgiving dinner stresses me out. Like, I would rather us have, like, a buffet line and then you take the food and sit down versus jamming all the food in the middle of the table and motherfuckers are passing it around and shit. I went to one of my friends' Thanksgiving one time and they had a fucking, like, line. And it was so much more efficient and better than sitting there with the turkey, the fucking corn, mashed potatoes, regular potatoes, green beans, mushrooms, fucking seafood, all this shit just lined up. And I'm like, and you have your own little cubicle space that you're able to use to eat.
Why surgeons wear blue or green scrubs. Back in the early days of surgery, doctors wore white because it looked clean and pure, but staring at blood on white clothes was like staring at the sun. Your eyes would get tired and start playing tricks on you. Not ideal when you're poking around someone's insides with sharp objects. When you stare at red for too long, then look away, you see a green spot. That's your eyes trying to balance things out. In 1914, one surgeon got tired of looking like he was performing surgery in a snowstorm. He switched to green scrubs, and suddenly his migraines disappeared. Red and green are opposite each other on the color wheel. When surgeons look up from all that red stuff inside you, their eyes can actually relax. Blue works the same way.
No way. That's why? I had no idea. So when they're staring at like blood and organs and shit the whole time in the inside of people's bodies, they need the blue or the green because if they don't wear that, then they get like fucking headaches.
Plus, these colors hide stains better than white.
I know that in Disney World, it's either Disney World or Disneyland. They have like certain tints in their parking lots in the surrounding areas that like wear out your eyes. So when you walk into the park, it looks more appealing. Yeah, go away green. Fucking, that's creepy. Where like the second you're in their property range, they're already like fucking with your brain to where you're happier and things look more vibrant in the park.
Because nothing says, trust me with your life, like walking into surgery looking like you just lost a paintball fight. Number 5, the origin of the RX symbol. Every time you pick up medicine, you see this weird symbol that looks like someone tried to write R while having a stroke. This little squiggle has been around longer than most countries. Back in ancient Mesopotamia, doctors were scratching prescriptions onto clay tablets. These guys were basically the original tech support, but instead of turning it off and on again, they'd prescribe herbs and prayers. Some think it comes from the Latin word recipe, meaning take.
They would prescribe prayers? Why couldn't you just tell them, hey, do this? They'd write down on a tablet, you need to do 3 of these every day for 3 days.
Back then, doctors were basically writing cooking recipes, but instead of sugar and spice, it was ground up mummy parts and mercury. Others say it's connected to Jupiter, the king of Roman gods. Ancient doctors thought the planets could heal people. Some researchers think it's actually the eye of Horus from ancient Egypt. According to the story, Horus got his eye ripped out by his uncle in a family fight that makes your Thanksgiving dinner drama look tame. Then the eye got magically fixed, becoming a symbol of healing. The symbol stuck around through history, even when we stopped believing planets could cure diseases, even when we realized eating mummies wasn't the best medicine. Number 4, the foot as a unit of measurement. Back in ancient times.
Well, I think I know this one. Wasn't the foot based off like King Henry or something? A meter makes sense. A meter is a fraction of like how far, like meters and like the metric system are based off of like Earth and the circumference of Earth and measurements of Earth. We in the United States use miles, feet, inches. They're random. Like, isn't an inch off of like the length of like a walnut or something stupid? Where does the measurement of an inch come from? A thumb? The Latin word meaning 1/12 of a Roman foot. It was usually linked to the width of an average man's thumb. Imagine you're building a house and the guy dies midway and you're like, I'll pick it up. We're using inches, right? And then your thumb's different and everything's just not aligned. Like there's no actual like specific measurement. It's just like, obviously at some time there was like a standard and now we have actual inches and feet. But then it was just like, yeah, just use your thumb. That's an inch. Bro, my thumb is probably way smaller than other people's.
Times people didn't have fancy measuring tools, so they used what they had, their own body parts. No batteries required. Just take off your sandals and start counting.
I love that vibe for cornhole though. How far is it? Not like 10 strides. So you got to get like an average person. It's like 30 feet. There's like a definitive distance in cornhole. and like a few other games that you might be used to playing, but you just get like the most average guy that's with you and just be like, go do 10 strides. If you're like 5'10", 5'9", go do 10 strides. That'll be, and then that'll be the distance.
Everyone's feet were different sizes, though. So if you bought land measured by someone with tiny feet, you might get less than you paid for. Imagine trying to build a house where every worker is using their own foot as a ruler. You'd end up with something that looks like it was designed by a drunk architect playing Minecraft. King Henry I of England decided to fix this by making his own foot the standard. His servants would walk around with wooden sticks cut exactly to the length of the royal foot. Number 3. The sexagesimal.
That's so fucking stupid we still use that. But we can't change it. Have you ever realized that? If you ever wanted, say one day you really tried to switch to the metric system and ignored miles per hour and all the other shit we use, whatever system you're born using is the system you die with. And so that's why the US is never going to switch. Unless for some reason we decide to teach our kids the metric system and not the imperial. Because if you ever switch and start using the metric system, every time you start using it, you're always just going to convert it. Like say you always relate things to kilometers per hour and you always talk about meters instead of feet. I'm always in my head going to go, I'm going 70 kilometers per hour. Fuck miles per hour. How fast is 70 kilometers per hour? Like 50. You're always going to, I'm going 5 kilometers. That's like 3 miles. You're always going to relate it to the system you already know.
Time system. The Sumerians from 5,000 years ago created our time system using the number 60. Instead of counting by tens like normal people, they decided to be different. 60 is basically the Swiss Army knife of numbers. It can be divided evenly by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, and 60. Try doing that with 10, and you'll end up with a lot of messy fractions. The Sumerians had this clever way of counting using their hands. They used their thumb to count the segments on their 4 fingers.
I always think about how math would be base 12 if we had 12 fingers. Math is base 10 just because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. Like, math would be all so different if we didn't have the fingers we have. Because you're always looking at things so you count, and that's how early math started. And then after, all math is based off that. Math is still obviously like definitively true, but we measure math and measurements in a manner where we have base 10. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it resets back to 1, right? So 11, 12, 13. But what would math look like if we had 12? Like it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it would be another symbol for 11 and another symbol for 12. And then it would reset again. Do I make sense? I don't know. People are spamming 6, 7. Peacock and Kazoon for the sub. 1T for the 3. My birthday today. DMS Slime Rancher. No, we're playing it later. Happy birthday. AVI for the sub. Lira, thank you for the 3. Long time Fabio to say, ask current philosophy has taken it further. University, your experience, what it was like you planned to do with your degree before you decided to start streaming. You got to look into that yourself. I switched to philosophy after I already planned on basically using it. If anything, I thought about getting into like getting a master's and being an adjunct out of college, but you could go and get a dual degree in psychology, go to therapy. You got to look into that. XML and Symbol for the sub. Comment for the sub. Grace for the 3. Ask your professors, too. I have OCD. You have to touch my water bottle 47 times, and you count it. Frost for the sub. Jack for the 5. Rumor you shit on the toilet walls of Dick's Sporting Goods. For the 3, there's spit on your keyboard. Remind me of Flamingo. I'll blame for the sub. Getty for the 3. Your keyboard looks like you make sandwiches on it. Pancake for the 3. Last time I did streams, I came to the realization it's impossible to have a moral system, and that isn't hypocritical to some extent. Also, I talked to ChatGPT for like an hour. RL Salty Squeaker the Big. Texo, thank you for the 5 gift. It's Joey, Bammy, WJ, and Johnson for the sub. 2 Galaxy for the sub. And Coco for the sub lock-in.
Each finger has
throw it in sub only.
3 segments, so that's 12 per hand. Then they'd use their other hand to keep track of sets of 12. 5 sets of 12 equals 60. The Babylonians later took this system and used it for everything. They even divided circles into 360 degrees, because it's 6 times 60. These guys were doing advanced math while most people were still figuring out which end of the spear to hold. Now we're still counting time like ancient Mesopotamian merchants playing finger games. Changing it would be impossible, though. You'd have better luck teaching a cat to fetch. Number 2. Naming.
I do think about that a lot. We give time, obviously time is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. So we're just splitting up. Like our time is based off years, which is based off how long it takes to go around the earth. And then you split it up even more and more. But like we just give the value of a second. How long time has gone by is actually just kind of random until you give it a random asserted value that humans derive. Like 60 seconds has no meaning. Yes, it's a fraction of a minute, which is a fraction of an hour, of a day, of a year, which has a definitive, like, I guess, solidifying point. But, like, we could have kept dividing it in any way we would have wanted.
Hurricanes. Back in the day, Caribbean people called these monster storms huracan, meaning evil wind spirit. They thought these storms were angry gods throwing cosmic tantrums. Then the Christians came along and started naming hurricanes after saints. If a hurricane hit on St. Barbara's Day, that's what they called it. It was basically a weather forecast, and a church calendar rolled into one. By 1953, weather scientists decided they needed a better system. They started using only women's names for hurricanes. This went on until 1979, when someone finally realized that maybe being sexist about natural disasters wasn't the best look. So they started adding men's names too. The names go in alphabetical order from A to W. Apparently X, Y, and Z were too complicated for weather disasters. If a hurricane kills
Well, how many names have fucking X, Y, and Z as the starting letter?
too many people or causes massive destruction, they retire its name. Katrina, Andrew, Sandy, they're all on nature's blacklist. Number 1. The standard
Xavier. Hurricane Xavier is coming through Mississippi currently.
railroad track width. Train tracks are exactly 4 feet 8.5 inches wide because that's how wide horses were. When they started building railroads, they used the same tools that made wagon wheels. Those tools were set to
Wait, what is this one about? Railroad track widths?
Number 1. The standard railroad track width. Train tracks are exactly 4 feet 8.5 inches wide because that's how wide horses were. When they started building railroads,
Well, it's also, you have to think about, have you ever realized how lucky we are that we all use the same rivets and same nails and shit? That happened like after World War II, I think. The U.S. was like one of the countries that started that because we gained so much power from the nuclear bomb that like we kind of forced all countries to have standardized rivets, nails, shoe sizes shoe sizes obviously correlate with different numbers, but like certain lengths of other things and pallet length and all this other shit. We use the same shipping containers. We have all the same shit because then it simplifies it to where we're able to accommodate trade better. Why? Because imagine if China used a different rivet size than the United States, and the United States used a different rivet size than Sweden, and Sweden had a different rivet size than Zimbabwe. And whenever we all needed to fucking use something or buy something from somebody else, it was useless because we don't have the same holes and rivet sizes that they do. So we all have to have, like, the U.S. solidified, I'm not trying to dick ride the United States because the United States has done a lot of bad shit too. But the United States also helped the world start, because of the US dollar being kind of like a world currency as a standard, it also helped make countries agree on standards for equipment in certain manners for other things. Not just, I'm using rivets as an example, but like you could do it for anything that is with carpentry, building, technology, a lot of shit like that.
they used the same tools that made wagon wheels. Those tools were set to make wheels that fit into the old road ruts left by Roman chariots. Those ruts were spaced to fit the back end of 2 horses. When George Stephenson built the first railways, he just went with what was already there. He added an extra half-inch for wiggle room, since trains are less agile than horses. Russia went wider, because they thought it would stop invaders' trains. Spain and Portugal went for a different width. Now they need special trains that can change their wheel width at the border. That's all for today.
Wow, I never thought about that. Trains going between countries needing to fucking change how they work. Sam, thank you for the 3. New FNAF movie, already watched the trailer. Owen for the 4. Tell me a McDonald's order, I'll get that order. 10-piece chicken nugget meal, medium fry, barbecue sauce with a Sprite as well as a spicy chicken sandwich. BB for the 5. Did Brooke do content before you met her or after? She used to make videos before. Gage